And I'm going to be introducing author Amy Stuart in just a minute. We're going to be talking about her brand new book called Still Water. And it's her second novel. Her first one was called Still Mine. And it's kind of a continuation, but I didn't read Still Mine, and I still love this book. Still love this book so much. I actually didn't know it until I went back and did my research. And I was like, wow, I couldn't even tell at all. So I can't wait to talk to her about it. Everyone, here is Amy. Hi, everyone. I am so excited because I am speaking with author Amy Stuart, and we are talking about her brand new book that came out this week called Still Water. And she has it right there. She's going to hold it up
Yes,
for
I
us
do.
so we can
It's
see the
right here.
cover.
There you go.
Love this cover, Amy.
Yeah, it's a nice one.
Yeah, and you want to know something? I did not realize I read the book as a standalone. I did not
Yeah.
realize that it was, I knew it was your second book, but I didn't realize that they went together. And so I am very happy to report that it doesn't matter. So-
Well, yes, we were very careful about that. So I like to call it a sequel of sorts. So Still Mine is my first book, and the second book, Still Water, does pick up where the first book left off in terms of it has two of the same characters, but it's sort of like a thing where they're looking for missing people, and each book is a separate case. So we were very careful with the second book to make sure that readers could um, drop in there, and there would be enough backstory for them to sort of not feel lost or like they should have read the first book first. So I've heard from readers who've read Still Water and then gone back and read Still
yeah.
Mine, and readers who've read both in order, and readers who've just read Still Water, and everyone seems to work.
Yeah, it does make me want to go back and read Still Mine because I want to know more about Claire. Like, I want to know. I mean, you gave us a lot of
Yeah.
backstory, so I didn't realize like there's might be even more. So I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that pulls me to want to read that one. But with the way you ended, and we don't give spoilers, but is there another one?
Yes, there is one more. So it's I'm working on it now.
Okay.
And I think you can see from the way that Stillwater ended that it's pretty clear that there's going to be,
Yeah.
um, it ends with a bit of a da da da.
Yeah, exactly.
So
That's what
yeah,
I thought too. I was like,
yes,
wait a second. This is definitely going
yes,
into another one. So, but
yes,
I love her character so much. There's so much. I can see why you're doing it like this because there's so much to build on with her.
yeah,
Like, and people get really attached to her and they want her to continue on and they
yeah,
want her journey, especially the journey even within herself to keep going,
yes.
and you really tackle the subject of abused women. I'm assuming that also was in the first one, or was it a little bit different?
It is, I mean, really, the first one is its own self contained story about a missing person, but it does give a lot more context to Claire's life and her backstory.
Hmm.
And I think that when I started writing the first book, it became very apparent to me about 100 pages in that Claire's entire story, I wasn't going to be able to tell it over the course of one book. So
Right.
I really had to focus um, on maybe dividing it up, and that's what I did. So each story, like I said, has is contained, but her story will arc over the course of three books. She just needed a little bit more
Yeah.
time to find her feet
Yeah.
and to recover and resolve her own
Right.
story. So
Right.
so you kind of caught her in the middle, and then
Yes.
and then I hope to sort of bring it to a conclusion in the third book.
Yeah. And like I said, everybody's getting attached to her, and I can see why because it's so deep. She has such a great story and about her recovery of her own past. And, so I love this ending too, and we can't talk
Thank
about it,
you.
but just so
Thank
everybody
you.
knows, it's a really good ending. But you know what? I really love, and I know this is awkward, but I read a lot of books. Okay. So I always try to find, like, I love a good first line. I love a good last line. I love quotes in the middle. But what I'm really finding, and you did it perfect, so that's why I'm bringing this up, is that I love the last sentence of the first chapter. Because to me, there's this like sweet spot because there's so many books out there that say a reader is going to read that first chapter and they've got Kindle and they've got 100 books on their Kindle, right? And
Yeah.
they read that first chapter and then they make that decision. Am I going to
Yep.
read the second chapter or am I
Yeah.
going to just, and then throw it away? So this is why I'm going to read this line because it's no giveaway, but it was perfect. And you say, it doesn't matter if I'm ready Claire thinks, I'm here.
I could have
And
told you that that was the line. I remember it too.
and it hooks you into like, oh, so, she's
Yes.
got a story. I want to know it, you know, and it just pulls me like, I don't know. And I'm finding that since I found this like thing out that I read, I'm like, you know what? Authors don't take advantage of that because it really is a sweet spot for a reader.
Hmm.
And it's like, yes, I want to know Claire's story. I want to know why she may not be ready for what she's about to,
Yeah.
get into, you know?
So we had to in the first, I mean, when I was writing the first book, there was so much editing around the beginning of the novel and how to sort of draw the reader in. With the second book, my editor was very clear. Like I had a list of things I had to accomplish in the first chapter. One was to draw the reader in immediately and set the stage for the story, make it clear sort of where she was, that she had come from somewhere else, give enough of a hint of the backstory, that she has a past, that Malcolm is this person who's embroiled in her life and has somehow involved in hiring her to solve these cases, and then also to set the stage for this second case that she's taken on, and sort of have that balance between, well, she's here, she's more confident this time, she feels better about it, but also maybe not so much now that she's here. Is she really ready? So the amount of back and forth with my editor and just really thinking, like, of any chapter in the book, the first one is the one where you go over it line by line and there is no room for wasted words. Everything has to be accomplished.
Right. And to make it really tight, like I always say, that's what my definition of it is like if it's a tight chapter where there aren't those, like words I'm skipping over and trying to fit, it's like to me, that's called tight. And I'm like,
Yeah.
ooh, that was a nice tight chapter. And I want to see what else is, and then when I find somebody that does it, I'm like, I have to tell them that they did it. They made me want to go to chapter 2. Now I
Thank
have to,
you.
most people like, can decide I have to go to chapter 2, but I
Yeah.
want to go there,
Yes.
so
And I think the first chapter is only about 1,000 words, which for a chapter is relatively
short,
short.
yeah,
So you think about, you're trying to accomplish all of that, but also keep it pretty short. My editor is very keen on the first chapter being relatively short, just because, well, like you said, the reader gets to the end of it and it's been a small investment of their time and energy, but then they're going to determine from there whether they're going to move on. So yeah, it's a tricky number, that first chapter. You really have to land it in
yeah.
order to really encourage your readers to continue.
Yeah, well, you did it very well. So,
Thank you. I
yeah,
appreciate that.
yeah, right. So, there's just, like I said, you tackled this issue of abused women. It was really good. I loved it. I loved the stories of these women. I loved this story, and I can't wait for the next one. And like I said, I want to go back and read that one. I mean, it's so perfect, and the ending is, so perfect. I spent almost the entire day yesterday reading this book. So, you know, I'd read a little bit, but then I really just sat down and read it. And I was like, when I got done, I'm like, okay. So I am so happy. But anyway, we have something in common, you and I. Now,
What's
you're
that?
in Toronto and I'm here
Yeah.
in Pennsylvania. And let's just say that I have a little team called the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Oh, you like the Penguins?
And when I saw on your website that you love ice hockey, I'm like,
Yes.
is she a Maple Leaf? She
Well,
a
you've
Maple.
had a lot more luck in your career as a fan than I have, because I think the last time the Leafs won the cup was 8 years before I was born, and I've been alive a long time. So it's yeah. Although things are looking up, but we think of Sidney Crosby as,
I know.
he's Canada's very proud of that young man.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, I mean, I have 3 boys and they all play hockey. I coach one of my son's hockey teams. I grew up playing. It's a huge, I mean, summer is a nice break from it in a way, but at winter we're in the rinks like
Wow.
12 games a week.
That's when
So
I saw that you had 3 sons, that was gonna be my next question, was
yes,
whether
yeah,
they played hockey or not, because
yes, they sure
hockey
do.
is not, now I'm not in Pittsburgh. I travel to Pittsburgh
Yes,
a lot, and, there it's kinda big. Here on the eastern coast of Pennsylvania, it's not. Like, we have the
but
Flyers here,
yeah,
but, I'm about an hour north of Philly, so it's not
yeah.
big in my area, but I've been to Toronto. I haven't seen a hockey game there yet, but I know that every time Sid goes to Toronto, he gets, like,
Oh yeah.
celebrations like
Yeah,
crazy.
like it's next to impossible to get tickets
Oh,
to
really?
a Toronto Pittsburgh game. Oh yeah. I mean, he really, there isn't really anyone else in the league now, maybe a few other young guys, but
Mhm.
that people are more interested in seeing than Sidney Crosby. He's really the best player to come out of Canada in a long time.
Yeah, I feel very blessed because I've gotten, front row seats, many times to
Yeah.
playoffs and
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 you also
stuff.
have a couple of Stanley Cups under your belt in the
Yeah,
past
and that
few
was really
years,
fun. I know that was
two in
really
a
fun,
row.
but,
Yeah.
this year was hard. It was tough.
Yeah.
It was
Please don't
tough.
complain to me. You're
I know.
complaining to the wrong
I
person.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I get a little emotional about it, but you know what? In the end, I was happy for the Capitals because I always feel for those Capitals fans because they
Yes.
get so far and then they get knocked out by
Yeah.
us or somebody else, and by us mostly, but
Yes. Yes. And
but
Ovechkin and Crosby have had this,
ugh,
they sort of started their careers around the same time, and they've had this long-standing rivalry, and Crosby's got all these Stanley Cups under his belt and Ovechkin has none. So I was kind of happy for him.
yeah, well, and there aren't a lot of women here either that are into hockey. Like, so I was like, oh, like in Canada, I'm sure that that is not the case because it's way bigger of a sport. Here, it is not as big of a sport, and my
Yeah.
my sons think I'm
I
crazy.
I
So,
mean, women, there's a, I coach in my son's hockey league, and there are 400 teams in the league, and I'm the only female coach. So it's,
mm,
I think women are fans, but to actually be on the ground,
good for you.
leading a team is a different story. So I love it, but I am sort of often the only woman in the room.
That's awesome. Well, I'm so glad I asked you about that because when I saw that, I'm like, I don't usually get to talk about this, so this is awesome. But anyway, so when is the next one? Do you have a title for your next one, or
No. I no, I have a few sort of jostling around in my brain, but I need to get a little more. I'm trying to finish a draft by the end of summer, and then the editing process can take 6 months from there, and then I don't know. It's up to the publisher as to when they'll publish it. But I know they really would love to publish it as soon as possible.
right?
Um, so I'm working on it, and it's interesting to be working on it at the same time as the second book comes out
Oh,
because you sort
right.
of see people's responses. And I think the biggest question I always get, and people who haven't read the book won't really understand this question, but what's going to happen between Claire and Malcolm? Is there an element of romance to this, or is it completely not? And so that's a good question.
You're not
I
going to tell us.
I don't know. I wouldn't tell you even if I did know, but really right now, because their relationship, even to me, I created it and I still find it very sort of difficult to untangle. So that's what I'm trying to do now, is untangle. And whether it may not ever get fully untangled, but I'm having a lot of fun trying to figure out what to do with them.
Well, I can't wait. You know where to find me when that third one comes out. 'Cause we'll talk about it because I want to
Yes.
read it and I have the same questions. And, but it's getting such a great response. I'm so happy for you. I mean, for a
Thank
second
you.
novel, it's doing so well here. And, this is a holiday week for the most part for our, country. But I
Yeah.
see it as still everybody's like responding and, reading it.
Yeah.
And, so
You never know what's going to happen with the second book, but I've been
yeah.
thrilled, especially in the US. It's going to be in Walmart and
Oh,
Target and bookstores and at the airports. Like, that's, for a writer, that's like the dream come true. So it's just thrilling to see it that it's so widely available.
yeah. And, I always think that's so awesome when authors like you get into Target. Okay.
Yeah.
So huge. I mean, right there, their shelf isn't that big. You know, it's
No.
just like Barnes and Noble. I mean, their shelf is very small and they are very particular about the books they
Yes.
pick. So same with
No,
Walmart.
and Target, weirdly, the first book was in Target, and Target does well as a
Yeah,
they sell books.
they
Like people
do.
go in there and they look, because they I think they do a really good job of sort of um, creating
Please.
sections so
Yeah.
that people know, okay, I'm buying a book for my mom and this is what she likes. So if she,
Yep.
they have that, if you liked this, you'll like this
Yep.
thing.
Yep.
And that really works for readers because it's like they're offering you suggestions. So
Yeah.
I've been very grateful to Target. I wouldn't even know who to thank, but whoever it is out
Whoever it
there,
is out in the
whoever
top.
the book buyer is for Target, thank you.
Well, hold up that book one more time for us before we
Yes,
let you go,
here it
because the
is.
cover is so beautiful. And if you go back and look at their other cover, I mean, you're getting such great covers for these books too, and that's
Thank
amazing.
you.
I just love the colors, and that your name is in red at the bottom because it just stands out so much,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. So thank you so much. It was so nice to meet you. And like I said, don't, you know where to find me. Like when the third
Yes.
one comes out, just I'll read it. We could talk about it. And I can't wait. It was such a great book. So thank you so much,
Thank
Amy.
you.
And all of Amy's links are going to be listed below here, especially that little Amazon button, because all you have to do is press on it. It's going to take you right to the book. One click, you got the book.
Awesome.
It's
Thank
so, and go to Amy's website. She's got a great website over there.
Yeah.
So,
amystewart.ca for Canada.
there we go. Thank you, Amy. It was so nice
Thank you,
to meet
Michelle.
you. Have a
You
great
too.
day.
You too.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Everyone, for watching my interview with Amy. Like I said, all her links are going to be listed below. And wasn't she adorable? Oh my God, I'm so happy that I got to meet her. And her books are so good. Go get them. Like she said, they're at Target and Walmart. And right there, if you know that they picked them up, that's a good sign of how good they are. So anyway, I am so happy for her. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thanks, Amy. Bye.